after his departure. After all, if you insist on the reincarnated Dalai Lama as a political leader, it would be extremely difficult because before his adulthood, there certainly will be a kind of power vacuum. And whether his performance will win the trust and support of the Tibetan people is also in doubt. Furthermore, I think the Chinese authorities will probably try to manipulate the reincarnation process and try to control the identification of the next Dalai Lama.
Now, the Dalai Lama has talked about an elected representative taking over those functions, those political functions that he used to carry out. What exactly are those functions and who will be carrying them out now?
I guess they have an established election system now. They have elections to a parliament, and they have elections to a prime minister, to the executives of the exiled. Of the government of the exiled community. This has been in practice for some decades already. I think what Dalai Lama wants to indicate is that he will give up his guidance role, his kind of mentor role, and let the elected representatives be the true leaders of the government of the exiled Tibetan community.
Now, despite the fact that that is changing, that he'll step down as the political head, does it remain the position of that government in exile, which sits in an Indian town, Dharamsala, does it remain their position that all they want from China is limited autonomy? They're not looking for any kind of independence?
I expect the elected leaders, at least for the time being, will follow the line of the Dalai Lama. That is to say, they only seek autonomy, a high degree of autonomy from the Chinese authorities, and they are interested in negotiations with the Chinese authorities. But we understand that there are younger and more radical leaders within the exile community, as well as those who are not in India, who are not interested in negotiations with Beijing and who would like to seek total independence. There is a possibility that you have divisions, that you have political disputes between these two views, between parties who hold these two different views.
All right, Professor, thanks. Thanks for joining us. We are going to take a break right now. Still much more to come on the program, including fresh turmoil in Egypt's Tahrir Square as armed men attack pro-democracy protesters. And we'll hear how guitar legend Eric Clapton has been selling off his favorite instruments for a cause close to his heart.
Hello again. Well, across the United States, we have seen quite a bit of activity, especially up towards Canada. We're talking Quebec, New Brunswick, as well as Prince Edward Island. We saw some freezing rain there over the last couple of days. Now another system is making its way up towards the north. We're looking at it right here along the eastern seaboard, so it's going to be bringing some more snow into those parts of Canada along the St. Lawrence Seaway, but all the way down the east coast from New York, Washington, Atlanta, all the way down to Miami. Heavy rain showers are going to be a problem. The central part of the United States, though, looking quite nice and warm. Denver up to 20 degrees, so very warm for them. Up to the northwest, though, more snow for Vancouver, rainy for Seattle, as well as possibly some rain showers coming into San Francisco's forecast. As we make our way down towards South America, very heavy rain showers right here across this band, all the way from Rio de Janeiro, all the way inland, so localized flooding could be a problem there, as well as the northern sections of Peru. We are looking at some very heavy rain showers into their forecast. And Bolivia has more rain coming to La Paz over the next couple days. Of course, that could mean more landslides as well as mudslides into their forecast. And very quickly over towards Europe, we are looking at some very heavy rain showers pushing into Turkey. That is also going to mean also heavy snow showers for them.
The army has to prove they have no intentions of hijacking power and of keeping any remnants of the old regime.
From people making the news.
The earthquake happened over a year ago. Now you want to come back and help your fellow Haitians?
To those it affects.
If Washington doesn't begin to help stabilize the government, it will create a backlash.
Behind the headlines.
Neither the United States nor China can hurt the other without hurting itself.
Is the inside story at this time on Al Jazeera.
You're watching Al Jazeera. A reminder of our top stories. State television in Libya has broadcast what it says are confessions of members of a criminal terrorist group linked to Al-Qaeda. Colonel Gaddafi has blamed Al-Qaeda groups for starting the uprising in Libya. The blindfolded men were said to be arrested in Ras Lanuf. Now, in that town of Ras Lanuf, forces loyal to Muammar Gaddafi struck at rebels and oil installations. Dozens of people are reported to have been killed there and in other battling cities in the country. Latest reports from Moscow say Russia is imposing sanctions on arms sales to Libya. Senior representatives from Gaddafi's government have been sent to Egypt, Portugal and Belgium on a series of diplomatic missions. Their objective is unclear. Now, let's return to that story from India, where the Dalai Lama has announced that he'll be relinquishing all his political functions in the movement and handing it over to an elected representative. We have a spokesman for the Dalai Lama on the line now, joining us from Dharamsala. Tenzing Tatla joins us now. Sir, could you tell us why has the Dalai Lama announced this move at this time?
Well, this move is part of a process that His Holiness has started way back in the when we first came into exile. His Holiness introduced democracy, and since then he has been taking steps to actually devolve his political authority to an elected political leadership. And this is an ongoing process, and since 2001 we actually have an elected political leader that has been elected by the people and who right now is carrying out most of the political day-to-day work. Now, His Holiness feels the time has come now to completely relinquish his political role, and therefore he feels that on March 14th, when he presents his message to the Tibetan Parliament, he will formally request them to relinquish his role as the political leader of the Tibetan people.
So he gives up that political role. Does this mean he's getting into some kind of semi-retirement, or will he play a larger role as the spiritual leader?
Well, His Holiness has, you could say, two aspects in his leadership. We have the political aspect as well as the spiritual aspect. As far as the spiritual aspect is concerned, His Holiness will always be there to be the spiritual leader of the Tibetan people and to lead the Tibetan people. Now, His Holiness feels that he's stated many times in the past that the whole Tibetan movement, depending on one person, is not healthy, and therefore he has, as I said before, he has taken steps to try to devolve his authority, his political authority, to an elected political leadership, which would be able to continue the Tibetan movement even in his absence.
Okay.